I've been driving trucks for over 15 years, hauling everything from auto parts to groceries. I've seen some weird stuff on the road, crazy weather, close calls, even accidents, but nothing compares to what happened the night I picked up a mysterious load from a place I'd never been before. And honestly, I wish I had just turned around and left when things started feeling off. It was a routine call from my dispatcher. They had a last-minute load for me. The money was good, and the trip was short, just a few hundred miles down south. Easy, I thought. I should have known better. I pulled up to this industrial building as the sun was setting. The place had no signs, no markings, just a chain-link fence and a few flickering lights. It was almost abandoned looking, but there were a couple of guys there, standing around. I figured they were the ones loading the trailer. As I got out of the truck, I felt a strange tension in the air. The guys didn't look like your usual loading crew. Their uniforms were dirty, unmarked, and they weren't exactly talkative. One of them handed me a clipboard and told me to sign for the load. The paperwork didn't say what I was hauling, just the destination. I tried asking them what I was transporting, just making small talk, but they gave me nothing. One of the guys looked at me, then quickly looked away. "Don't worry about it," he muttered. That was the first red flag. The second came when they started loading the truck. They were being extra careful, too careful, like whatever they were putting in there was fragile or dangerous. I decided not to push it. If they didn't want to tell me, fine. I'd seen plenty of weird cargo before, and asking too many questions rarely got you anywhere in this business. Once they finished loading, they handed me the keys and barely said a word as I got back in the cab. I glanced in my rearview mirror as I pulled away. The two of them just stood there, watching me leave, not moving, not even waving. The whole thing felt wrong, but I had a job to do, so I hit the road. For the first hour, everything was fine. I drove down the highway, the sun fully set by now, with just the hum of the engine and the occasional song on the radio to keep me company. But then I started hearing it, a faint thump coming from the trailer. I shrugged it off at first. Loads shift sometimes, nothing new. But the thump came again, louder this time, like something heavy had slammed into the side of the trailer. I checked my mirrors, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. I kept driving, but the noise didn't stop. In fact, it got worse. It wasn't just the thumping anymore. Now it sounded like something or someone was moving back there. The sound of metal scraping, the trailer creaking like something big was shifting around inside. I felt my pulse quicken. What the hell had they loaded onto my truck? I kept telling myself it was just the cargo moving, maybe something unstable in the back. But as I drove, the noises got louder. Thud, bang, scrape. It was like whatever was in there was trying to get out. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel, my heart pounding. I didn't want to stop, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Really wrong. Finally, after another loud crash from the back, I decided to pull over. I was scared, but I had to know what was happening. I slowed the truck and started looking for a safe spot to stop. But before I could, there was a massive bang. It sounded like the entire trailer was about to tear apart. I slammed on the brakes, my truck skidding to a stop on the side of the highway. I jumped out of the cab, heart racing, and ran to the back of the trailer. The night was thick with mist, the air cold and heavy. I shined my flashlight on the trailer and felt my stomach drop. The rear doors were completely destroyed, torn open like something had ripped them off from the inside. I stood there, frozen, my mind racing. And then I saw it. Just for a second, a dark, massive shape darting away into the mist. It moved fast, too fast to be any kind of animal I'd ever seen. It was bulky with long limbs, and the way it disappeared into the darkness, it wasn't natural. I didn't get a good look at its face, if it even had one, but I could feel it watching me as it ran. My flashlight flickered, the beam barely cutting through the fog, and I felt that chill crawl up my spine. The kind of chill that tells you you're not alone. I slowly stepped closer to the trailer, my legs shaky, heart pounding in my chest. The inside was wrecked. Whatever they had loaded, it wasn't in there anymore. Crates were shredded, boxes torn apart. The trailer smelled like wet fur and something worse, something rotten. I backed away, my mind reeling. I knew I should call someone, my dispatcher, the cops, anyone. But what was I going to say? That something had busted out of my truck and disappeared into the night? They'd think I'd lost it. So I did the only thing I could. I slammed the broken doors shut and got the hell out of there. I drove straight through to the drop-off point, but when I arrived, the trailer was empty, and I didn't care. I signed off the paperwork without a word and left as fast as I could. I still think about that night. What was in that trailer? What did I see running off into the mist? I'll never know, and honestly, I don't want to. But every time I'm on a long stretch of highway, late at night, I can't shake the feeling that it's still out there, somewhere.